Choosing good perennials is a difficult decision for anyone who's new to gardening. So I just thought I'd do a quick video and show you 3 really good ones to consider. I grow loads and loads of perennials that go with my ornamental grasses. And over the years, I've grown literally hundreds of different plants and types and different varieties. And I know how hard it can be choosing. So I just thought I'd give you a little help with 3 that I consider you should and must get for your garden. Here's one of them. Now, this is Euphorbia, and Euphorbia is a massive family. They come from all sorts of different areas, particularly the Mediterranean, where this one comes from. This particular one is my own cultivar, which I've named Malachi, and that's just simply based on the cottage where I found it. Now, euphorbias come in all shapes and sizes. One of the best types that you should consider is the Wolfenii types, which is the more squat, the more domed shape. There's several different types. Here I have Euphorbia, and the true name is Caracia subspecies Wolfenii malachi. But don't let that get in your way, and don't let that get in the way of buying this plant, because some of these names can be so long and it doesn't really matter. Just call it Euphorbia. So that would be a good one to have. Now, these can take very sunny conditions indeed, and they can take a modicum of shade, and it shouldn't affect them too much. Certain ones, it may affect the colouring, it may affect the fact that some of them like to go a bluer colour. This particular one tends to have red tips during winter, and that's its parentage coming through in it there. But it's definitely one to get. It makes quite a big plant. It's not a lot of trouble. You must be careful because this particular plant does exude a milky sap which can burn. You must wear gloves when you're doing any sort of work around it. And when spring comes, you need to cut back the flowers. It has some huge flowers, yellow flowers in spring. It's evergreen, this particular one, and it really is a stunner. And at the moment, it's about 4 foot wide by about 2.5 foot high. It can be kept smaller than that if I take some of those branches off of it, but I choose not to. It's what they call a subshrub, so it can be quite woody as well. So there's not a lot to do with it once it's planted, and I should choose a good location immediately for it where you're planning on keeping it for quite some time, because it can be a plant that will live 5, 7, if not 10 years under the right condition, this particular variety. So just consider that carefully. There are other euphorbias, but this is the one I choose. My second choice is going to be this. This is now called Iliotrope. It's the old sedum. And butterflies and bees absolutely love these types of plant. They're not evergreen, they will die back, but at this time of year, which is August now, it produces this lovely flower head. There are several different varieties. Some have darker leaves than others, some have brighter flowers than others. But this is my own particular one called Igor the Giant, and it's just a selected seedling that's come through Matrona and 2 or 3 other varieties that I had at the time. Now I'll just quickly show you this one. That's another one there. That particular one there, that's another one that was already in the garden, so I don't know the species, but that has a more pink flower and is another good one. But most Iliotropiums are good plants to have. Really, you need them towards the front of the border. You don't really want these put into the back of the border or in the middle of a border, because you will lose them and they will not like you for that. They will suffer as a result. So I would always suggest that you either plant them solitary, or as here, I've planted 3 more little babies that I've taken cuttings of and planted them together, because they do look good planted en masse. As I said, the bees go mad for them, and as you can see at the moment, there are bees on this one. They absolutely love it, and as the weather gets warmer, we get even more bees on it. And we get a lot of honeybees coming here because we have a beekeeper in the village. So I get lots of visits from those. But that's another really good choice to have. You can keep it into a normal border, put it into a normal border, or you can do what I've done here. Over there, you've got another Iliotrope, which is there. That's called Carfunkelstein. That's another good choice. A bit smaller, darker. but nevertheless a good choice. So I would definitely go with this one as my second choice of the three to have. It's a nice one. So look out for those in your garden centres or in your nurseries. Your specialist nurseries will provide you with better types of plants that you probably never come across before, but you'll get something very similar to this in a garden centre. If you're looking for one similar to this particular one, look for one called Iliotrope matrona. Now my third choice is this one here. And again, it's another one of my own cultivars called Skinny Mini. It's called Euphorbia purpurium. It likes meadow type situations, really, damp meadows at that as well, or damp ground. It'll grow really well in damp ground, but here I'm up at Grassy Bottom and we're on heavy chalk, so it is quite retentive of moisture and it holds onto it quite well. But here it's on actually a bank. It's not so obvious on this video, but it's sat on a bank. So, and it's still growing well, is what I was going to say. Now it's lovely. Again, it's a great plant for pollinators, and there's a bee sat in there. I'd suspect it's been sat there overnight, got cold, and decided it's staying there. But there's bees all over this. Now the unusual thing about this plant is it does have a scent to it. Not a strong scent, but when there's lots of flowers, you do pick this scent up as you walk past it. This particular cultivar is a good 7 foot. It'll sit in the middle of a border, the back of a border, or the front of a border. That's the beauty of using taller perennials. So that's my third choice. And that's Euphorbia purpurium. As I've said, there's loads and loads of perennials, and I grow loads of perennials, and there's a load more here. Maybe I'll do another video on 3 more good ones to get, but I tend to go for either the unusual, the tall, or plants you probably won't find in garden centres. Generally, I'm always looking for new plants, and I'm always changing, and I'm always swapping, so never be afraid to do that either. But there are so many to choose from. But once you get your eye in, you too can have something that looks as beautiful as this. And it really does look nice up here at Grassy Bottom. It's a lovely calm day as well. So that's 3 perennials to go for. See you in the next one. Ta-da!